It only takes a careless moment to turn this into this. Don't let forest fires be your fault. Make sure your fire is dead out.
Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
Imagine everything in life is out of your control, okay? You know, everything that goes wrong in your life is completely determined on, you know, where you're born and who you are and what you do. Some anonymous government entity out there is preventing you from becoming successful. Some malicious god that you have never had a relationship with ever, or even some foreign war that has nothing to do with you, right? Now, in most instances, you'd be correct. Like, a lot of stuff that doesn't happen to you still affects you. Like, we kind of see that with the Strait of Hormuz, with the war in Hormuz, Venezuela. We see that with certain lawmakers when it comes to data centers. We kind of see that with certain laws made by with data centers. You know, we see with the politicians going over their citizens' head and passing laws. So, like, there's a lot of truth to a lot of the stuff that's in your life is truly out of your control. Like, you weren't there where your parents made you, or else you might not even choose to have the parents you have right now. Like, you weren't there to determine their financial situations that affect you on a regular basis, right? You can't even win in this current system because it's all predetermined. Straight up, you can't even win in the system because it's all predetermined. Because some elite organization, people out there are preventing you from succeeding. Or else, if it was up to you, none of that stuff would be happening, right? I'm really just trying to get these sets in because I have a new schedule and I'm trying to work out this new way of doing 30 minutes for 30-minute workout thing, but we're gonna figure it out. Those are 2 sets. Like, you failed your test because the teacher doesn't like you. You don't want to go to the gym because a big farmer, or it's hard, or it's whatever reason. Like, everything in your life, to some degree, is not really in your control. And to a degree, it's very freeing because none of this stuff is your fault. You know, you can always have somebody else to blame. You can always find somebody else to blame. Because at the end of the day, in a lot of those cases, it's very true. You know, the teacher not liking you can affect your grade. You not going to the gym can indeed be a problem because going to the gym is hard, man. It hurts. Like, even right now, I've been off the gym for a couple weeks making excuses about why I'm not going to the gym, right? Because this new internship, I have this new job coming up. But after a lot of, you know, discussion and thinking about it and working it out with one of my trainers, or not one of my trainers, as if I own a trainer, but trainers, is that I at least should try to shoot for at least 30 minutes for the workout. And what we did is just like, we do 2 sets till failure, and then that's it. And then just consistently going until my schedule changes, which I don't know when that's gonna be, but maybe someday. And it has to be so freeing. Like I said before, that everything is not really your fault. It's somebody else's fault, somebody else's problem in society, and not your own. Like, even the exceptions, the people who do succeed, like, there's nothing on them that helps them work hard, right? They were just born to be that way. They got lucky. They had the resources. They had the decision-making ability. They had the great genetics, the dominant belief system in the place that you're at, the place that you're in. It doesn't necessarily matter on their input. everything was just meant to be that way. Like even the losers, like the homeless people, you know, the people with illnesses, diseases, the stupid people, the stupid people, the people who don't really understand certain concepts, like even the emotional well-being of this current generation is all predetermined, right? It's all their fault. It was all meant to be this way. It is that none of this is truly something you can do anything about. There's nothing that anyone can do anything about, okay? And that's the best part, or the worst part, depending who you are. But that's the problem. Losers, or victimhood in general, is rewarded socially, right? Like the more you post about your own personal suffering, whether it be your finances, whether it be your political struggles, whether it be your physical struggles, psychological stuff, mental health, whatever it is, if it's a problem that you're suffering with and there's a large group of people suffering with it as well, all of a sudden you get all this social validation, you know? And all of a sudden you could become the main character in a room or connected with people who are just like you in a room, all because you just stated that you're suffering and everyone else is suffering the same way, right? And not to sit here and say that like misery loves company, but it does like to have friends, right? And that's not like anything, and that's not nothing what I just said, you know, like community, social validation, community acceptance, all that other stuff plays into the plague of victimhood within the current society that we live in, fortunately or unfortunately. You know, some people build their entire personalities off of how much suffering that they've been through. And when I say this, I don't mean to, you know, offend anybody. But at some point, you have to ask yourself whether or not really. At some point, you have to question how your identity is actually impacting you. Because in some instances, your identity is not really serving you. Like you're just feeding it and making it grow bigger. And it feels so big in your life and to the point where it just bleeds over everywhere, right? And something that I don't think a lot of people talk about, or if they do, they just like touch over it, is like it removes your agency. You know, by telling yourself that it's somebody else's fault, you're also giving them the solution. Like if this person just stopped doing X, Y, or Z, then I could do A, B, and C, right? But that may not necessarily be true, right? The moment that you give somebody else the ability to change your life is quite literally the moment where you lose your life as well. Because if it's always up to somebody else and never up to you or anything that you do, right? Or anything else that you do, then it's okay for you to stay where you are. And even in the instance where they do stop, a lot of stuff that you'll be doing is still reliant on you becoming the person that you need to become in order to get to the place where you want to be. You know, I say it a lot. You know, start, continue on, intentionally grow, get some extra eyes on it. I say it all the time. Yeah, I can't do that anymore. Reworking on it though. Like if you really think about it, if everything, not even that, not even everything. If the system is the problem, then the system needs to change, right? If your parents are the problem, then it's your parents that need to change, right? If it's society that's a problem, you're waiting for society to make a move before you do, right? Nothing wrong with that, because in some instances, I personally do believe that sometimes the system does need to change. Sometimes there are things like discrimination, racism, all this other stuff that happens in real life that affect me on a regular basis that I wish would just change. But here's also something that I have to consider as well is the fact that like, am I also changing as well? Because I think you lose more if you don't take back your agency, if you don't take back your solutions. Because here's the part that nobody tells you. I mean, I'm gonna do it based off a story, right? You're only a victim if you're late, right? You're only a victim if you apply for a job and you get an opportunity to interview for the job and you're late, and that stocks you points, and then you don't get the job based off of that. Or if AI is here and you're trying to optimize for it and not get flagged by the APS system or anything like that, then it's really then it's really, you know, everybody else's fault but your own, right? And there's nothing you can do about it. On the other hand, that's stuff out of your control. On the other hand, if you optimize your resume to check AI, you're more intentional about where you're applying to, you put it in a spreadsheet, right? You go out, you look online if there's networking events that you can attend to, you try to get the human interaction in to maybe help you with your resume, or not resume, but help you get the job that you want to do, right? It gives you back a choice of what you can do. And like I said before, right, none of this stuff that I'm saying, right, eliminates the overall system that is at play. What I am saying is that some aspect of it is up to you and what you do. Essentially what I'm saying is that you are not a victim of your circumstances, you're the victim for how you respond to your circumstances, right? So I understand, like, some of y'all might be thinking to yourselves, saying to yourselves, I don't know who, but it's easy for me to say because I'm on a screen and I don't struggle as much as everybody else. True, right? But it's also easy to say the other thing where everything is outside of your control. I can say both of those things at the same time. Everything is within your control and everything's without. And I can also say that everything is outside of your control. Both of those statements are extremely easy to say, but one actually helps you make moves, right? One allows you to accept your circumstances, while the other one's just like gives you back your agency, your free will to do what you can do in order to get to the place where you want to go, right? And it's not to say like all that stuff doesn't exist. That is to say, like, because the system is very real, your parents' decisions are very real, your living circumstances are very real, and that's not what I'm trying to dispute here. What I am trying to communicate is that everything that's within your control is within your control, and it's up to you whether or not you want to change that part or not. The moment that you start saying that the stuff outside your control is what's holding you back is the moment that you hand your power. Is the moment that you hand your power over to people who don't care about you. Shit. I have work to do, and it's probably not the best use to do it in with all this other stuff done. But the moment you do that is the moment that you give all your power away. And you know, up until maybe recently, the power that you have is not necessarily you have over the system, but it's really about the power that you have in order to change and grow. Maybe even in some instances to surpass the system. Like even this whole thing with like SpaceX that's been happening recently, it's like that was an idea at one point. Like I think Elon Musk was even talking about how originally with this idea he really wanted to just buy a rocket from Russia, but it was overpriced at the time, right? So he just decided to build it himself. Right now, imagine him going, whatever your thoughts on Elon Musk, whatever. My point is, like imagine him going, oh, well, it's outside of my control. Things are way too expensive. And there's nothing I can do about it, right? Ooh, I gotta work on that one. Ew. Anyway, that's disgusting. Like once you hand it out, because words is something that you say and you can't really take back. Like once you hand it off to somebody who who doesn't care about you, you're not getting that power back, right? And even just on an emotional level, you're not getting that power back because you gave it away, right? So since this is really about a mentality thing, I want to try to get practical. Ooh, I did not get balanced on that, because what happens if I, ooh, yeah, see, I'm off balance. Yeah, so I need to control that. Hold on 1 second. I need to get that foot off the ground. Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna try that one more time. Yeah, I'm telegraphing way too much, but let's get practical, because a part of the problem here is a lot of people say victimhood is terrible and that's where they leave it and that's it. But I'm gonna give you some practical stuff. So number one is just audit your language, right? If you say I can't because, or I can't do that because of X, Y, or Z, stop and don't even change that. Like, change that. I can't do it because, well, I'm gonna give this example, right? I can't go to the gym because of my internship, and I'm mentally exhausted, and I don't really have time to do so, right? That's my excuse about why I'm not in the gym. Obviously, that's not true enough, because I'm here at the gym working out, right? You just saw me, right? But also, another thing that's happened is, instead of saying that, I had to start going to myself, you know what? I am mentally exhausted and I do feel like I don't have time, but let me actually check my schedule. Let me check my schedule. Do I actually have stuff open? And so far, I have Saturdays and Sundays open so far. And maybe 30 minutes before I have to go to work on my new schedule, assuming that I get it. Ooh. Ooh. I might like that one a little bit. Anyway, but auditing how you talk about your circumstances may be affecting how you perceive your circumstances. Ew, that's disgusting. Oh, and then I forgot how you kick, but I'm working on it. I'm gonna practice it. One of these days, you're gonna see me hit this bag. It's gonna be crazy, right? But we're not gonna do that on here. But the whole point is that your perception can be your reality, and you don't want your perception to be based off how you view your own personal circumstances, right? The second thing you can do is separate what has happened to you and what you're gonna do next, right? So essentially, the exercise is, now write this down if you have to, right? Write down a circumstance in your life that you feel like it's outside of your control. And then the next thing you want to write is what you can do about that, or what you can do next. Not maybe necessarily about your circumstances, but maybe what you can do next, right? And a lot of people skip over this step because, frankly, kind of where I go back to before, frankly, because they're comfortable in their victimness, in their victimhood, right? Because once you write it down about your circumstances and what you can do about it, that actually gives you free will and agency to do whatever you want to do with that information. And if it's nothing, that kind of reflects on you. Not even kind of, it does reflect on you. Because if you know what you can do next and you choose not to do it, what you choose not to change is the thing that you're choosing. I'm sorry. Not really. It's really your fault. These are just the laws of the world. Technically, the last thing that you can be doing in order to overcome your victimhood is stop announcing it every time you enter into a room. Ever watch those videos where someone says, well, I'm a I'm a black single dad or single mom. I don't really care. I'm a black single parent who is making $35,000 a year, who, right? They're explaining the situation, right? Now, this really comes down to the heart. It really comes down to the heart when I say that, because when I'm actually saying that out loud, it sounds like I'm being inconsiderate or overlooking other people's circumstances, which I've already stated in the video. I already talked about that. I'm not going to say it again. But if you lead with that in a lot of the circles that you're in, then, you know, you're kind of, that's just how people know you, the person who suffers the most. You know, and anybody who's on their grind, anyone will tell you that the thing that annoys them the most is a person who always comes around them with problems all the time with zero solutions. With zero solutions. Like, it's one thing if you come to me about your problems all the time, but if you're not doing anything about it, like after the third time, maybe second, third time, I'm like, okay, whatever. You just want to complain, right? Like, you don't really seem to be really about solving your problems, right? Winners, if they talk about their obstacles, they're already moving past it, right? If they're talking about an obstacle, they've either figured out a way to solve it, they're asking for help in order to solve it, and then actually executing, or they don't say anything at all and handle it in quietness. Now, that's not to sit here and say suppress how you feel, suppress your story, don't shrink yourself around the other people. I am saying don't make that a priority to tell everybody your weaknesses. That's what I am saying. Anywho, the victim story already has its ending written out already because you're living it right now. With the way that I'm talking, if you have a plan, that's really iffy. Now your fear is, I don't know what's going to happen, instead of, there's nothing I can do. Right? The plan scares people because the possibility of failure. Like, have you ever heard the quote, you know, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Right? You ever heard that quote? And the thing is, right, when people say that stuff, like, a lot of people are not afraid of success. They're afraid of failure. That's a video idea. I might start working on that. But people are afraid to fail because it's all on them, or they don't have the resources to be okay afterwards. They can't take $10,000 out for a business loan because they don't have $10,000 to put back in, you know, that type of stuff. And I already said it in the video a couple times, but your circumstances are not your fault, but how you respond to them are, right? You're not a victim to your circumstances. You're a victim to how you respond to them. I'm going to repeat that as many times as I can on this channel, right? Because at the end of the day, at least in my situation, I cannot live with that mentality, or else I end up doing nothing. I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you guys about taking control of your life, taking back your life, taking back your choices, taking back your free will, taking back your agency. Because I can sit here all day and feel like it's somebody else, blame someone else for my problems. But in part, or all of it, like best case scenario, it is somebody else's fault. Worst case scenario, it's all mine. It's all mine. Like, it's genuinely easier to sit here and say that the game is rigged. It's so easy. Like, bro, it's so, and on top of that, it's freeing as well. It's emotionally freeing. It's like, everything is out of my control. It's the system. Like, everything I can say, that you can say, it's easy to say, and it'd be true, right? Except every person that I want the success of, every person that I look to for success, whether it be their story, their social media profile, whatever it is, like, at some point, they had to make that trade. Like, even this video right now, putting it out into the ether, it's uncomfortable having this video be put out, and it's trash because I didn't memorize the script, and this was just something on my mind, and I just wrote it all down and hoped that I remembered it and reviewed it between each cut of this take, right? It sucks because, like, it's very vulnerable to put myself out there for criticism, to be seen, to be perceived. Because, man, a lot of people might disagree with this, and I might get blown up, and my life might get ruined. That's something I consider all the time. But I think more so is that if you watch this video, you watched a clip of whatever I post online, or whatever AI posts online, because I don't really do that. I just let AI do that crap. But it's the sacrifice that I'm willing to make to try to help you out and make a little bit of money on the side. Full disclosure. Full disclosure. Full disclosure. Okay. Oh man, if you guys are enjoying this type of video, please like, subscribe, comment down below what you think. Obviously I need to do some work again. I'm gonna post this anyway. Acknowledge that it's terrible when it gets posted, but it's very real, very raw. If you guys like the clothes that I've been using, triumphathletic.net. If you end up buying something, code MINT, M-I-N-T, get 10% off your order. It's a great company. I like their design so far. But anyway, I think that's all I got to say. Other than, like, it's up to you. It's up to you.